true psychopath. When you're lost, take your trust. That's me. That's so sick. I'm a fraud, call me a liar. A true psycho. Ooh, I'm a fraud, call me a liar. A true psychopath, don't love me. When you're lost, take your trust. Yeah, that's me. Oh, that's me, that's me, that's me. Yes, I'm a fraud. Call me a liar. A true psychopath.
What up, what up, what up? Happy Saturday, you guys. Welcome to an official Nooner with Jen Moo. Glad to have you guys here. I'm so excited to see everybody here. Not all that excited about the content we're going to be doing because it is some sad, sad stuff. But before we get started with that, please allow me to please thank Mel whatever for her super chat. I appreciate that, babe. Thank you so much. Remember, Mel, for you, I would be the big spoon. Nobody else. All right. So how is everybody doing today? I hope you guys are all having a fantastic start to your Saturday, your weekend. The weather here in the Floridas is gorgeous. We're supposed to be at like 76 today. And, it's not going to last, though. It's supposed to cool off during the week, which no me gusta. 76 is how I like it, but they don't ask me those questions and don't ask for my input, but I give it anyways, and that's my Google review for you. Florida's turned the freaking heat back on. Stop being cold. Anyway, all right. So while Allie will be joining us here shortly, but I want to go ahead and get started because we got a lot to cover. And we're basically going to pick up where we left off, okay? And then I'm going to try to get to the whole. I just clicked the wrong thing. Crap. I'm going to try to get to the whole cross-examination, the first part of it, before we get off. I only intend to be live about 2 hours. That's good because then tonight we have more phone calls with Letitia. I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know that I intend to be playing like 5 days worth of calls. We're going to be playing the 13th through the 5th through the 18th, 17th, my bad, 17th. So that's the plan for tonight. And that will be at 8 Eastern. But not to worry, like there's the first, 5 or 6 calls are only like between 2 and 5 minutes. They're super quick. So we'll just get through those really quickly and then move along. Because what I'd ideally like to do is get through all of hopefully the rest of March so that we can start on April for next weekend. Okay. All right. So we're going to pretty much start where we left off. Where we left off last night is we're at the day of Harmony's murder. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. That's what it is. And Kayla's on the stand right now, and she is describing what happened after they left the apartment complex parking lot and they drove maybe a street over and the car broke down. And that's basically where we're at. And I want to remind everybody again, this is tough stuff. It's difficult testimony to hear. It's awful. Please take breaks if you need to. The word does not judge, and you got to take care of yourselves. And also, remember as we're hearing this testimony that human beings are extremely complex, and there is a lot of things going on during this testimony simultaneously as she's recalling these events. Okay. And so everybody's opinions are valid. Let's all just be respectful of one another. And without further ado, I'm not going to talk anymore. Let's get this underway. Here we go.
Did he call 911 at any point?
No.
Did you?
No.
And when you saw him put her in that duffel bag, did you attempt to get away to run?
No.
Why not?
They had the two other kids. I was scared.
Scared of?
That something would happen to me or Adam and the kids.
You said you saw him put her in that duffel bag, fold her up and put her in there.
Yes.
What did her face look like when you saw her go into that bag?
It was all black and blue, and her face was puffy. Her eyes were puffy.
Did he say anything to you after he put her in that duffel bag?
This is something that I want to point out because this was something that we talked about last night. Okay. When she described Harmony's black eye back in July. Okay. And she said when she saw it, when she got home that afternoon, sometime after 2:00 p.m., I don't know the exact distance between their house and the Dunkin' Donuts that Kayla worked at, but she said it was red. Now, I don't think that there's been I don't think there's been an extreme amount of time here between what took place in the parking lot of the apartment complex to the methadone clinic, from the methadone clinic to the Burger King. And what she's describing is that Harmony's face is all black and blue. So keep that in mind. Okay. So that I just wanted to point that out because it doesn't take that long really for bruises to form. I mean, all a bruise is bleeding under the skin. So it doesn't take that long. All right, here we go.
I don't remember.
What did you do after he put her in the duffel bag?
We took the kids and we walked back to Colonial Village.
What did you do once you arrived at Colonial Village?
Put the bag in the snowbank so Anthony wouldn't see it.
I'm sorry, so that who wouldn't see it, Kayla?
Anthony.
That's Anthony Badero.
Yes.
Where was the snowbank that you put? And sorry, let me clarify. Who put her in a snowbank?
Adam.
Where was that snowbank that he put her in?
In the embankment from the parking lot.
What was around that snow embankment?
A dumpster. And cars and snow.
And you said he put it in there so that Anthony Badero wouldn't see.
Yeah.
What did the defendant do after he put that duffel bag in the snowbank?
Left her there. And we got a ride from Badero to get stuff out of our car.
And where was your car at that point?
It was at that street. We ended up leaving it, and when we came to the car, it was already getting towed.
So Mr. Badero gave you a ride back to your vehicle.
Yes,
Were you able to get belongings out of the vehicle?
yes.
And who did that? Who got those items out?
Adam and myself.
That vehicle was your home at the time.
Yes.
What did you do after that in terms of a shelter?
But Daryl let us sleep in his car for the weekend until I figured something out.
Just for the weekend?
Yeah.
Is that what you had asked him for? Or is that what he said, just for the weekend?
That's what he said.
And what kind of vehicle did Mr. Badero have?
An Audi.
Do you remember what color it was?
Blue.
Was it a car, a sedan, or an SUV?
A car.
And I want to talk about the time that you were living in that car that weekend. Where was Harmony's body at that point when you were living in Mr. Badero's vehicle?
In the trunk of the car.
And did the defendant ever move it from the trunk of the car to another location?
Yes.
Where would he put it?
Near the dumpster.
Why?
So Anthony wouldn't see it.
Was it cold outside at the time?
Yes.
You mentioned snow. Was there snow on the ground?
Yes.
Did something happen to the vehicle that first night you were staying in Mr. Badero's car?
Yes, the battery died.
What did the defendant do when the battery died?
Used somebody's phone and called Miss Frayne.
Is that Kimberly Frayne?
Yes.
Are you aware of him communicating with any other people regarding the dead car?
Not that I remember.
At that time, did the defendant have a Facebook account?
Yes.
Do you know if he had a Facebook account?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
But you recall a call to Miss Frayne.
Yes.
And what happened after that call?
She showed up with a battery pack jumper to jump the car.
Was she successful in jumping the car?
Yes.
And what were you doing while that was going on?
I was in the car with the kids.
Where was Miss Frayne?
Outside of the car with
Where-
Adam.
I was going to ask, where was the defendant? Where was Harmony at that point when the car was being jumped?
In the trunk of the car.
What did you and the defendant do for food during your time in Mr. Badero's car?
Bodero bought us pizza and brought it down to the car.
You mentioned being there for 2 nights,
Yes.
and the first night the battery died.
Yes.
When was the pizza given to you?
I think it was the next night. Because he did give us food for a couple of dinners. He gave us food. We had the pizza and stuff like that.
Could you repeat that, please?
A couple of nights we got pizza.
And did you leave Mr. Badero's vehicle after that weekend?
Yes.
After those 2 nights you left?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors where you went?
I went to my aunt's house,
And what's your aunt's name?
Kimberly Simmons,
Where did Miss Simmons live at the time?
in Manchester.
Was she on South Main Street?
Yes.
And how did you get to your aunt's home?
Bodero dropped us off.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
May I proceed?
Yes, you may.
So, Kayla, I'm going to hand you 3 exhibits. And I'm just going to ask that you look at the first one and look at what you need to do. So that first one, what's been marked as States Exhibit 20.
All right, I gotta pause for fair use. I hate doing this, but I have to do it anyway. You know, I was thinking about something as she was testifying, and I was about Anthony Badero, and this is what I'm unclear about. Okay, so basically, they Anthony for sure knew that their car broke down, right? And didn't see Harmony, and he gave them a ride to their vehicle when it was towed, where it was being towed. Okay, and then they walked back to the apartment complex. And I would assume that when he gave them a ride back to the to the um to the car, right, to their vehicle in the at the intersection, I would assume that the kids were with them because they were with them walking back. So how did nobody ask where Harmony was? That's, I think, my biggest problem. One of them. But just in this moment right now that we're talking about, it's like nobody gave a rat's fat kneecap about her, and it breaks my freaking heart. Hey, Allie, how you doing, babe?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm all right. I've been up since 6 o'clock. I'm all hopped up on
Oh my
coffee and
gosh.
5 hour.
I don't know how you do it because I've been hardly awake. I could not get up this morning. I was just so tired. Like I woke up at like 8, but I kept going back to sleep until I finally left and went and got some coffee and stuff. So I'm doing better now. But
Well, this is some tough testimony. I'm going to try. Sorry, you guys. I'm going to try to get us at least maybe up until the cross examination. I almost feel like the cross examination needs to be by itself because there's so much going on in the direct, and then there's also so much going on in the cross examination. So maybe we do a nooner on your channel tomorrow if you want, or I can host too. Either way, whatever you need, I'll help, I'll do whatever.
well, I think that's a good idea.
Uh-oh. You cut out, babe. Okay. Allie cut out, so I'm going to keep playing until she comes back. Okay? Here we go.
Hey,
Okay.
oh,
There she is.
I'm sorry. Somebody tried to call me, which I'm going to turn it on do not disturb. But so I think that's a good idea because there's a lot in the cross, and even in my little video I made of like my notes, I didn't go
Yes.
too far into the cross. There's so
Okay.
much that we could talk about and pick apart there. But I
Yes.
do wonder, should we do it here just because it's like part of this little series like of videos here or
Oh,
not? Which I did make a
continuity?
playlist with. Yeah, I was thinking
Okay,
for
we
that,
can.
but also I'm sorry, Bendy.
No, you're fine,
I
babe.
did
You're
make a
okay.
playlist and I put your videos on it too. Like I'm gonna add it's gonna be a playlist of both of our channels of all the recaps and stuff.
Oh,
But
perfect.
just to keep it together, maybe we should do it here. I don't know. What do you
Okay.
think?
We can do that. Whatever we need to do, it's fine. And I'll make a playlist too. And that way it'll be everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, or I'll
Okay.
share your playlist. Can't I share your playlist?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
feel
You
like I
can.
can. I think I can share a
Mm-hmm.
playlist. So I'll do it like that so we don't be doubling up on work and whatnot. Okay. We got a lot to cover. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
totally down to do a nooner tomorrow afternoon at some point or tomorrow morning, whatever's convenient. We'll talk about it after we get done. And I do think there is a lot to dissect in the cross examination. There really is, you guys, if you missed it.
Yeah, there really, really is. And there's just, I don't know, I know that people are very split on this testimony, and we talked about that last night with like how the jury might
Mhm.
be potentially split. But for me, I just, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Not
There's
everything adds up, you know?
Yes, and see, here's the thing. I'm I am curious about the way in which they're presenting their case, and here's why. Because there was a huge change up day 1. Day 1, Adam is pleading guilty to abuse of a corpse and fabricating evidence. Is that what it was? Falsifying evidence.
Yep.
And not fabricating. Jesus, Jen, get your shit together. Falsifying evidence. And he pled guilty to that. So those are 2 elements of the crime that are not going to be necessary for the state to prove, which makes me wonder if they have changed up the way they're presenting this case. And I know that at the end of, before they went on the jury view, the lawyers were talking to, for both sides, were talking to the judge, and they were trying to figure out scheduling of witnesses. And so I'm very curious how how much of an impact and change up did his pleading guilty to those 2 counts change up their presentation of evidence. And I, I'm concerned because the jurors are not taking notes. They're not allowed to take notes. So because Kayla's testimony is, she is the witness to the actual murder and the only witness. I mean, yes, the kids are witnesses too, but obviously. So she's the only witness that they have. And if they're not taking notes, I feel like, wouldn't it be better to maybe present her at the end or towards the end with some follow-up witnesses that can confirm what she says occurred? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do think they're going to do that with, you know, when they mention like, uh, other people that could almost corroborate her story, like that Travis guy's girlfriend. Oh, there was a couple
Mhm.
people that were mentioned in her questioning. I wonder if they're going to bring them on after.
Yeah, but like I feel like they need to, I don't know. If I think if I feel like it should be fresh in the jury's mind, because look, I used to be able to listen to trials and remember a lot. And I mean, I get that there's going to be evidence. So obviously they're going to be, or exhibits. So they are going to be able to take back some exhibits, but the majority there, we don't have a medical examiner, which means that there are no autopsy photographs or an autopsy report, which is one thing that, is helpful, as macabre as it is and hard to look at, but it is helpful to a jury. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to believe her. And I don't know, the, the defense is not finished cross-examining her, and dependent on what the state feels, I can't imagine that the state would not do a rebuttal or redirect. I cannot imagine that that would not occur. And dependent
I
on
wonder
what
if they
all the
will.
defense, I'm sure they will. And dependent on what the state goes into in their cross-examination is what the state, what the defense goes into on their cross-examination, then that is dependent on what the state then comes and asks as a redirect to further drive it home. And even then there's a chance for recross, like it could be a minute. So I'm just,
Yeah.
it's concerning that but at the same time, I have to say, on the other hand, that the jury in Alec Murdaugh's trial did not take notes either. They were not allowed to notes, and they did just fine deliberating. So I do think they find ways around it, because if I remember correctly, that jury, when they did take notes, but they left them in the jury room, if I remember right. Am I well, you didn't watch that trial.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
didn't watch that one very much, so I don't know.
But I
Couldn't tell
feel
ya.
like that's what happened. But you see how memories go. I mean, I covered that trial every single day. Very
Yeah.
annoying. I don't, are you guys having trouble with the chat? It's been doing that to me too. I'm having trouble getting the chat to continue. Thank you, True Psych Word. Oh, the peanut butter to my jelly. Thank you so much, because I was pretty sure that's what happened, but you know my memory. I've been questioning it now. All right, so yeah, it's bad. All right, so should we keep going?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
25 for identification. Do you recognize what's depicted on that item?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors what it is?
It's the apartment that my aunt lived in.
That again is on South Main Street.
Yes.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of your aunt's apartment?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point I move to strike ID and mark as full. States Exhibit 25.
Objection? Okay. The ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit.
Now, Kayla, when Mr. Badero dropped you, the defendant, and your two children off, where was Harmony's body?
In the duffel bag.
Who had that duffel bag?
Adam.
And what did he do with that duffel bag when you got to your aunt's house?
He placed it under the porch.
And you pointed at the exhibit just now. If you could just hold it up and show the jurors where you're pointing. Can you show me where you pointed? So if you can take a look at exhibit 20, 26, and 27, what's been marked as ID for 26 and 27. What's depicted on those two items? Kayla?
The porch. Up close.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of your aunt's porch?
Yes.
Is there a difference in the two photos?
Yes. 27 has measuring tape, looks like.
And Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike ID and mark as full. States Exhibit 26 and 27.
The ID is stricken. They're entered as full exhibits.
And
Ms. May.
you mentioned the defendant putting Harmony's body in a duffel bag under the porch.
Yes.
Your aunt's home?
Yes.
This is the porch that he put under.
Yes.
Did he go into the home that day, into your aunt's home?
Yes.
How long were you there for, Kayla?
A few hours. We were trying to figure out where to go.
What was the purpose of your trip to your aunt's home?
To talk so that she could talk to my mother, so that she'll let us stay at her place.
What's your mother's name?
Christina Lubin.
So if I understand, you wanted your aunt to talk to your mother?
Yeah.
Did you end up seeing your mother that day?
Yes.
How did you come to see her that day?
She came to pick us all up, myself, Adam, and the kids, the two boys,
Where was Harmony at that point?
in a duffel bag.
And how did your mother pick you up? How did she arrive at your aunt's home?
She came in her van.
And what happened to that bag that Harmony was in when your mother came to pick you up?
We put it in the van.
And when you say we put it in the van, who put it in the van?
Adam.
How long did Harmony's body stay in the van?
Probably about 5 to 10 minutes.
Was it in there while you were traveling somewhere?
Yes.
Where were you going?
To my mother's place.
Did the defendant keep Harmony's body in the van?
For the drive, yes.
What did he do with Harmony's body when you arrived at your mother's home?
He took it out of the van and put her on the side near the trash at first until he figured out where to put her.
And what did he figure out in terms of where to put her?
There was a cooler in the hall walkway that the residents used to get in and out of the building. It was on my mom's floor level in the hallway. And he put the he put the duffel bag in the cooler.
And what was in the duffel bag at that point?
Harmony.
So he removed her from the trash. He put her in this cooler.
Yes.
Her body was still in the duffel bag at that point.
Yes.
Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
I also want to know what happened to the clothes that were in the duffel bag, which, I mean,
What's been marked states.
I know it's a ridiculous detail, but I just want to know.
Cooler. That
Well, you know, those
was on the
ridiculous
porch
details should be
in my
easy
mom's
to
hallway.
remember
a
and
fair
recall,
accurate
in my
representation?
opinion, in the story. Oh, by the way, Jen, I know that we're not pausing yet. Well, we can, or whatever you want to do.
No, I
I just want to
paused.
tell you,
I paused.
Amber is going to come on with us Monday night
Yes, she
to talk about it.
is.
I'm so excited. So I'm so
I'm
excited about that.
excited. I know. Are we just Monday to talk about what happens on? Well, yeah, because Monday will be the other half of the. So okay, that's why. Yes, we definitely need to do a nooner tomorrow. Correct. Okay, good thinking, Allie. I like the way your brain works because mine show ain't working, even though it's all
But I
hopped
think
up
it's
on.
half mine and half mine and half yours, actually.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. If it's half of mine, you got stuck with a bum with something that's bum because mine is not. Mine has been buffering for like a week.
Oh
All
no.
right,
Well,
Ari.
I told Amber, I was like, it's the second half of Kayla's testimony, so that is the perfect time. Like, I can't wait. So
Oh, Amber said ATS News said, hubby just heard too, and he's like, "Oh, is she?" And I'm like, "Yeah." By
oh
the way,
no.
oh well. We're all snitching up in here. Kayla's snitching, Allie's snitching, Jenlu's snitching. Everybody's a snitching. All right. All
Sorry,
right. So
hubby.
now,
Please let her.
sorry, please, can she come? Now, okay. So at this point, now they have moved Harmony to the cooler. Not, and I'm going to say they, and here's why. Because Kayla says they. She has said they multiple times when the moving of the bag has happened and only
Yep.
corrected herself to Adam when she's been asked. So she's getting the side eye, and I'm going to say what she says, which is they. I do have a feeling that, I know for a fact that there were times when she moved Harmony's body around. We'll get to that. All right, here we go.
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike the ID and mark as full states exhibit 28.
Stricken, it's entered as a full exhibit.
And I move to publish.
Yes, you may.
Kayla, how did Harmony's body fit into this cooler?
Adam pushed it in the cooler so it would fit.
Is that something you saw him do?
Yes.
Were there any noises when he did that?
Not that I remember.
How long was she stored in that cooler for?
For a couple weeks.
And how long did you stay with your mother for? How long were you with Christina Lubin?
For a couple weeks.
Did her body stay in that cooler for the entire time you were with your mother?
Yes.
Why?
I honestly don't know.
How often did you see that cooler when you were living with your mother?
Every day. Multiple times a day.
Where was the cooler kept?
In the hallway.
Was that your mother's hallway, or was it?
It was access to everybody who lives in the building, but it was on the level of my mom's apartment.
And tell us about that hallway. What else was kept there?
I don't remember.
Were there other items in that hallway?
I don't remember.
Where did you go after living with your mother?
To the FIT shelter, Families in Transition.
And when you moved to the Families in Transition shelter, is that FIT, the FIT shelter?
Yes.
When you moved to the FIT shelter, where was Harmony's body?
Adam put her. In the ceiling. In the vent of the room that we stayed in.
What room did he stay in while you were at the Families in Transition shelter?
It was the first room. It was room 1.
how did he access the ceiling to store her in there?
He used the bunk bed and climbed up in the ceiling.
Was there something that allowed him to access the ceiling that was above that bunk bed?
It was a vent.
Who slept under that bed?
The kids.
Where did the defendant sleep?
We all slept on the floor on the mattresses.
So Kayla, I'm showing you what's been previously marked for identification of States Exhibit 30 through 34. Can you please look at each of these items in turn and describe what this is?
This is the outside of the family shelter,
And that's States Exhibit 30.
and this is the door to room 1, and next to it is the second room.
That's Exhibit 30.
This is the room.
I'm just going to ask you to move it a little away from the microphone. Thank you.
And when you say this is the room, whose room was that?
It was the room that we stayed in.
And that's set up? The way the room is set up, is that similar to how it was when you lived there?
Yes.
And that's States Exhibit 32. What is States Exhibit 33? What is depicted there?
The vent above the bed.
And what happened with that vent?
Adam moved it so he could go in the ceiling.
Now, did you ever touch that vent, Kayla?
No.
And States Exhibit 34?
It's the vent.
Are those fair and accurate representations? Is that consistent with your memory of what those items look like?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike the ID and mark as both States Exhibit 30 through 34.
All right, the ID is stricken. Those are entered as still exhibits and may be published to the jury.
And so, Kayla, I'm holding up what's been marked, or what's been admitted as States Exhibit 30. What is this item? What is depicted here?
The outside of the family shelter.
How long did you live at this family shelter for?
A month and a half almost.
And States Exhibit 30? What's depicted in this information?
The room that was the one we stayed in was on the left side, room 1, and the other room is the second one next to it.
So you stayed in room
A
1.
month and a half.
Yes.
And you mentioned room 2 being decided.
Yes.
In States Exhibit 32 and 33, you mentioned that this was consistent with what the room looks like when you lived there?
Yes.
And those are the bunk beds that you mentioned.
Yes.
And you said you could see the vent that was used in these images.
Yes.
And can you remind the jury what's in States Exhibit 34?
That's the vent that he climbed up to and put Harmony in the ceiling.
When you say he climbed up to the Harmony in the ceiling, who is he?
Adam.
At the time you were living at the Families in Transition Shelter, was there anything going on with Harmony's body? Was she having any changes? Was her body having any changes?
Okay, I just want to, we have to pause for fair use. Steph sells stuff by the seashore said, if you watch Adam's interrogation, you might understand her fear of him a little better. That's all I'm saying. He's a frightening man. I agree that Adam is a frightening man. And after you watch him do to Harmony what he did, it is rational to believe that the same thing might happen to you. It's also rational to believe that the same thing might happen to your children. And so I understand her fear. I do. I just can't get my mind around not wanting to, at the very least, protect her own children. I'm having a very difficult time. Allie?
I think that's really interesting. And also there were a couple things brought up in the chat that I wanted to mention to you when we got a pause. Excuse me, like the cooler, for instance. this cooler set out in the hallway, a public hallway, you know, that's just so bizarre to me that no one looked in it. You know, surely to God, I feel like if I was at my parents' house or anywhere with my like several of my family members, and there was a cooler sitting outside, at some point I would open it up and look in it just to see what was in there. If there's drinks in there, if there's food, I don't know. I can't see. There are little things that just don't add up, and I know that they're not that important because you know. Okay, so her testimony does align with. I'm so sorry. I keep trying not to
No,
cough,
you're
but
all right,
her
babe.
her testimony does align with some of the physical evidence, right, about disposing of her, the stuff in the ceiling and things like that. However, his story could align with that as well. You know, there's really no. I don't know. I don't know that I'm just going back and forth if some of these little details make a difference, but it's hard not to notice them.
Hang on just a second. I'm typing. And you know, and
Oh,
if I talk, I'll type without talking. Okay. So, what else? Go ahead.
the last thing I was going to tell you is Claus said when we get to the cross examination that she thinks the attorney, which I think we're going to do tomorrow at noon, but I still wanted to mention it, that she thinks the attorney sounds just like Barbara Walters, and Nana said the same thing.
Oh,
So
I will
we'll
have to
keep that in
listen
mind.
to that because I can't get I can't get my brain to stop referring to her or seeing her as essentially bootleg Elaine, which is the Elaine from the Johnny Depp trial. They look and speak very similarly. So it would be nice if I could imagine Barbara Walters. That would be a good change up, and I probably need that. And here's my thing with the cooler. So when Allie and I months back, when we talked about the probable cause, because we read it together and we discussed it, and the hallway was mentioned, I thought in that moment the way that the probable cause was written was that the hallway was like a hallway inside of her mother's apartment, not. I forget that places like the upper East Coast are that get really, really freaking cold, and like the Midwest and stuff, that apartment buildings, you don't access your front door from the outside. See, in Texas, all of the way, well, most of them, the way most of the apartment complexes are in Texas is your front door is an external door. So you don't go through a common hallway. Like unless you're in like one of those like high rises or whatever, then obviously you do. But so when they were talking about it being in the hallway, that really concerned me because I thought it was inside. And with the cooler, just for me, I would have checked, because if you don't like empty a cooler when you're done with it, you leave like after ice has melted and you just leave the water in there, it mildews and it's ruined. And I would
Yeah.
have checked. I would have wanted to know what
Yep.
was in there too. I'm just nosy like that. Especially if it was something that I hadn't seen them with before. Do you know what I mean? Like that. I mean, I guess it would make sense if you're living in your car that you would have a cooler, but I don't know,
Yeah,
because
that's
imagine,
true.
the way it was being carried. There's one way to carry a cooler when it's full of something, and there's another way you carry a cooler when it's not. And see,
Oh,
for
yeah.
me, I noticed that, and I would have been like, well, make sure that you empty that cooler out. And then because of Kayla and Adam and the situation, I would have checked to make sure they did it, because
Yeah.
I don't have confidence that and that's another thing. And somebody brought this up in the chat, and I can't remember who it is, but whoever it was, excellent point. Why didn't Kayla take Harmony into the bathroom at the methadone clinic? At the very
Yeah.
least, to clean
Yeah.
her up.
You're exactly right. If you don't clean her up anyway, she's gonna smell. And
Exactly.
I don't know. It's frustrating. Also, I want to make a point, Jen. So last night when we were doing this, I saw someone in the chat and they were saying like you know, this is not your average, basically, this isn't your average pill popper. They were doing methadone and crack and heroin and things like that. And kind of talking about why Kayla, they were getting high in the car and stuff before they checked on Harmony. But I just wanted to make a point, and I found this something really crazy happened to me in the last day regarding some of this too. So, Will B, one
Okay.
of our subscribers, he told me that he's like, I found somebody that like a YouTube channel I watch says they know you. And that's true. There's somebody from West Virginia who has a YouTube channel, and this is a guy that I was using with, like, you know, he lived right next door to me for a couple years when I was really bad off. And I just want to say, you know, thank God I got out of it, but there was a point in time where I was using heroin intravenously and Xanaxes, some of the most hardcore drugs you could do. And I still could never get to a point where I'm using drugs instead of checking on a child that's hurt. And that's even if they fall down and trip, much less if they're hurt in this kind of way. So I don't think that, yes, they were using some very hard drugs, but there are lots of us who have been on those exact hard drugs. And
Mm-hmm.
it still doesn't make sense. You know, and so I don't know. I just think that that's really not an excuse. And as a matter of fact, addiction is addiction, whether no matter what kind of drugs you're doing. At the end of the day, you're still a slave to it, but you're not going to put it over a dying child. A child that is literally losing their life in front of you. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And I've seen a lot of really low down addicts that will rob, steal, hurt, but I don't think that they would put them. I just don't see. I don't know. To me, it doesn't add up.
Bingo. Bingo. And bingo to bingo to ATS News, because they're cold people ultimately. Yes, they are. I think that I
Yeah.
think what we're missing here, and I think we should discuss this just briefly. What we're missing here is, yes, they are addicts, and I am not taking that away from them. However, I think there is an element that has nothing to do with their addiction, that is just about who they are as people, what kind of people they are. And I think that this was, for the lack of a better word, a perfect storm of the combination of the dysfunction and the toxicity between Adam and Kayla. And on top of it, a perfect dysfunction, a perfect storm of abject neglect.
Yeah. Oh
Period.
yeah.
Because I think that's the type of people that they are at their core. Period.
You're right. And then also the factor of domestic violence and toxic relationships.
Correct. All of it. All of it comes into play. All of it. So I
Mhm.
don't think that we can. I, I mean, for me personally, I think that what is happening here, what happened here, and what caused all of this wasn't just one thing or another. It was a lot of things happening all at once.
Yeah.
So
And
that's what I think.
I agree with you. And maybe I should have just said it in a little shorter way, that I think that most addicts still love their kids. And look, I know that for me, I don't think anyone on those kind of drugs needs to have custody of little kids, because your disease won't let you put the children first the way they need to be.
Correct.
However, yes, as they still, most addicts, they still love their kids, and if their kids are hurt, they're going to tend to them, not just keep using, you know.
Right. Right. This is a different there's neglect, which obviously occurred, no doubt about it. And it wasn't just the neglect of Harmony, it would have been the neglect of all of the children, point blank, period, the end. And there's that component to it. But I agree with you. I do. I think there's just a lot going on simultaneously. And I don't think that we can say, oh, well, I'm not going to say, well, it was this or that is the reason. I think it was all the things happening all at once. It was the most thrown off, messed up alignment of the fates that you can have. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yep. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
um Aries girl mentions She should
Yes.
come up sometime and explain about her mom. So Aries girl is a survivor. I'll wait. I won't go into it because she's put it in our chats before, but if she wants to, but just of a similar type of situation. And she said that her mom is a lot like Kayla and she should come up sometime and explain. And I would love that, Aries girl, anytime you want to
Absolutely.
do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think that you need to hear it from an adult, a person who's an adult now, but I promise you can remember what it was like to be that child. And I think it would be an interesting perspective. And I applaud your bravery because talking about stuff like that is not easy at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you ready? So now we're about to hear some more gruesome details. So everybody take a deep breath and we're going to keep going. Here we go.
Yes.
I want you to tell the jurors what those changes were.
You could smell a horrible smell that was coming through the vents.
Do you remember that horrible smell?
Yes.
Did maintenance come at some point while you were living there because of that smell?
Yes.
And what happened when those maintenance workers came?
Adam took her back down from the ceiling and brought the bag in the bathroom.
And what happened when Adam brought Harmony down from the ceiling?
That she was starting to smell and there was fluid leaking.
So you smelled her. And did you see the fluid?
No, I didn't see it.
How do you know about the fluid that was leaking?
Adam said that.
What did he say?
He said that there was blood up in the ceiling and fluid.
And so what did he do with that duffel bag containing Harmony after you removed her from the ceiling because of maintenance?
He put her in a trash bag.
I'm showing you it's been marked as State's Exhibit 52 for identification.
Yes.
Kayla, do you recognize the item that's depicted in this image?
Yes.
What is that?
The CMC diaper bag.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of the CMC diaper bag?
Yes.
And how about State's Exhibit 53?
Yes.
Is that a fair and accurate representation
Yes.
of the item that's depicted?
Yes.
And what is that item?
It's the bag that Adam put Harmony in.
So you mentioned garbage bags that he put her in.
Yes.
What did he put those garbage bags into, if anything?
He put the garbage bags inside that bag.
So Your Honor, at this point I move to strike ID, strike what's been marked as ID and mark as full States Exhibit 52 and 53.
Any objection?
I move to publish. Sorry.
52 and 53, the ID is stricken. They're entered as full exhibits and they may be published to the jury.
Kayla, how did Harmony's body fit into this bag?
Adam squished her into the bag.
Yeah, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as States Exhibit 85. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
Is this similar to that CMC bag?
Yes.
Is it in fact identical to that CMC bag?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point I move to strike ID of States Exhibit 85 and mark as full and publish to the jury.
Any objection? The ID is stricken. It's entered as full exhibit.
So the defendant put Harmony into garbage bags and he swished her into a bag like this one.
Yes.
And this again was at the families in transition shelter.
Yes.
Where did he do that to her?
In the bathroom of the room that we stayed in.
Were you in the bathroom with him when you did that?
No.
Did you hear anything when he was doing that to her in the bathroom?
I heard a loud bang.
Could you see what was going on in there?
No.
You mentioned the defendant stuffing Army into the duffel bag
Yes.
at that intersection in the car guide.
Yes.
And then you mentioned him squishing her into this bag.
Yes.
Did she fill that bag, that CMC bag that you just saw?
Yes.
Her body filled that bag?
Yes.
And what did he do with the bag after he put her in there?
He put her back in the ceiling.
You mentioned being at the Families in Transition shelter for a month and a half.
Yes.
During that time, did the defendant begin discussing disposing of Harmony, getting rid of her body?
No.
At some point, did he begin discussing disposing of Harmony, getting rid of her body?
Yes.
And what was his plan? What was his idea for getting rid of her?
To use lime. And dismember her.
What did he believe that lime would do if he used it on her body? Did
The objection is sustained. So you can rephrase the question, please.
did the defendant tell you what he believed lime would do if he used it on Harmony's body?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
That it will help decay her body.
That it would help decay her body?
Yes.
Did he tell you what he believed dismembering her would do?
No.
But he told you that that was his plan?
Yes.
Counsel, can you approach her just a minute?
So I just a little something really quickly before I forget it. The reason the defense objected is because they used the
As I had said,
word
we would
believed.
take a mid-morning break. I think this is a good time to do that. I'm going to add witness for the moment. Please remain.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But you can't testify to what's in somebody else's mind. So he had to rephrase and ask the question correctly. Now they're fixing to take their mid-morning break, and we won't be taking a break, but we will be skipping ahead. So, I didn't mean to click right there, dadgummit. Hold on.
Pointer lover. I agree.
All right, here we go. Oh, did you want to say something, Allie? That was so rude of me. Like I just totally got distracted by this break and making sure I scrolled correctly that I didn't even ask you, hey, you got anything you want to say, Allie? Because I'm rude.
No, that's okay. I don't have it. I was just, talking with people in the chat really and listening, but I don't have anything. Let's keep going. It's okay.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell y'all, brace yourselves because now it's not going to get any better. There will be no reprieve. All right, here we go.
Ms. Montgomery, I remind you, you remain under oath.
Kayla, before, excuse me.
While he's taking that drink of water, I'm going to let this play
Before we
because
go,
I need a cig. I'll be
You were
right
telling
back.
us about your time in the fit shelter in the duffel bag.
Yes.
Brought her into the bathroom, is that right?
Yes.
You said when he was in there, you couldn't see what was going on, but you heard a bang.
Yeah.
What was he doing to her?
Trying to fit her in that bag.
When you say trying to fit her into that bag, is that the bag like this one?
Yes.
And you heard a bang while he was doing that.
Yes.
Did you hear any other noises?
No.
How long was he in the fit shelter bathroom trying to fit her into this bag?
About a couple hours.
You mentioned him putting her in garbage bags and then squishing her into a bag like that one.
Yes.
The duffel bag that he had initially put her in. What happened to that duffel bag?
He got rid of it.
Do you know what he did with it?
I don't know what he did with it. But it was no longer, we didn't have it anymore.
And was that after the bathroom?
Yes.
You said that Harmony's body was beginning to smell, that it was horrible.
Yes.
Did the defendant take measures to combat that smell?
Yes.
What did he do?
That is when he took her down from the ceiling and brought her into the bathroom to put her in the garbage bags and to get her to fit in that bag that's similar to that one. And he asked me to bring the bag to his job
Where was his job at the time? Where was he working?
at Portland Pie in Manchester.
This is still while you were at the Families in Transition shelter?
Yes.
How long did he work there for?
2 months.
And you said he asked you to bring the bag to him at work.
Yes.
Did you obey?
Yes.
How did you get there from the Families in Transition shelter to his work?
I walked
And where was the bag at that point?
in the stroller.
How long of a walk is that from the shelter to his work at Portland Pie?
About 10-15 minutes.
Was anyone with you during that walk?
My 2 kids.
Why did you obey the defendant when he told you to bring Harmony's body in that bag to his work?
Because I was scared.
Are you aware of what he did with her body once he brought it to him?
Yes.
What did he do with it?
He put it.
Sustained. If you would rephrase the
Your
question.
Honor. You said you're aware of what he did with her body at his work at the Portland Pie Pizza Company. How are you aware of what he did with it, Kayla?
Because he told me that he put her in the freezer.
Was that the only time, to your knowledge, that he put her in the freezer, or were there more times where he brought her and put her in the freezer?
That was my only time.
I want to go back for just a moment. When he was in the bathroom, you said it was for several hours.
Yes.
Are you aware of him doing anything to clean up in that bathroom?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors what he did to clean up?
He used ammonia to clean up anything that happened in that bathroom.
How do you know he used ammonia to clean up anything that happened in that bathroom?
Because he specifically bought it.
Were you with him when he bought it?
I don't remember.
But you remember him using ammonia to clean.
Yes.
Did he tell you what he believed the ammonia would do?
It wouldn't show evidence of any blood or fluids.
And did he tell you at that point why he didn't want evidence to be shown, why he didn't want anything to be shown down the road?
So he wouldn't get in trouble and nobody could find anything.
Why did he put Harmony in the freezer at the Portland Pie Pizza Company?
Because he said that if she's in the freezer, there wouldn't be any fluids or anything leaking.
At some point around that time, did you get tax returns, your tax refunds?
Yes.
Do you remember around when that was?
February or March, I believe, in 2021.
So I still want to talk about the time you were at the fit shelter. Did you eventually leave the fit shelter?
Yes.
And where did you live after the fit shelter?
Union Street in Manchester.
Do you remember when you moved into Union Street in Manchester?
Yes.
What day did you move there?
February 20th, 2020.
And did you sign a lease agreement for that apartment?
Yes.
Did you list Harmony as a child?
No.
How about on your tax returns? Did you list Harmony as a child?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors why you did that?
Because she lived with us for 6 months or more, and Adam told me to leave her on there
Did he tell you why he wanted you to leave her on there?
so that it would just show that we still had her living. with us.
So you moved into your apartment on Union Street on February 20th. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And that's of 2020.
Yes.
Where was he keeping Harmony at that point?
In the refrigerator of our apartment.
And I asked you earlier, and I think you said he began to discuss dismembering Harmony.
Yes.
What did he say about dismembering her?
That he just wanted to, he would put her in pieces to get rid of her.
My God.
And was that
Jen,
the
when
Union
you're
Street
done
apartment?
smoking, I want to tell you something.
That's where.
I'm done. I was coming back because I was annoyed at them claiming her on their income tax because she lived with them for more than 6 months.
Yeah.
Get bent.
Okay, so I was looking at something, and you know how he supposedly used lime to I think he was confused and bought the wrong thing, because I think lime would help with speed up the process of decomposition. But while we were listening, I was reading a study over here on researchgate.net, and on this study, and there are several others too, but on this particular one, they used lime on pig carcasses to try to see what it would do to human remains, basically. And what they found was that it slowed down the process of decomposition. It did not speed it up. So I'm wondering if they meant lie and got the wrong stuff. They did say, though, that lime would cover up the smell of
Yeah.
in this study, it would help with the smell. However, it would not speed up decomposition.
No, it doesn't. And that's why John Wayne Gacy would buy lime constantly. And he would put it down there in the crawl space over the bodies
For
to
the smell?
keep it
Oh,
for the
okay.
smell. But it's not fail proof, because he did have complaints from the neighbors. And what he blamed it on, excuse me, was a backed up sewage septic tank. Hang on just a second. I'm about to
Yeah.
cough really hard, and I don't want to do that in y'all's ear. Please excuse me.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, you guys, they just didn't research it. Now, what I saw online was that people used to believe that it could help with decomposition, but after studies were done, help the process like be quicker. But after studies were done, it actually slows down the process.
Yes, yes. Which, yeah, I don't even want to talk. I'm not even going to go into that. I just find that the audacity of the entire situation and the bag. It's to me what he did to cause her death in the first place, and all of the time that he had her before he actually ultimately ended up killing her. She suffered every single day in some
Yeah,
way, shape, or form.
absolutely.
And then for
Absolutely.
him to do what he did, and then after the fact do that to her little body, to cram it into a bag that, let's be honest, this is not about like the size of the person, which obviously the bigger you are as a person, the bigger your clothes are. But this is not what that's about. The fact of the matter is, I think most women would agree with me, if they were going for a weekend getaway out of town, that bag would not be big enough to hold all of the things that they would take on that weekend, or, in that bag for the weekend getaway. Because I know it wouldn't be enough for me. Because not only do I need obviously clothes, but I like to have choices in clothes. Sometimes you feel like an outfit's going to work when you're packing, and then when you get there, you don't feel like wearing it. So I need to have multiple choices. And so I just find that he's so just completely disrespectful. Everything that he did is like the worst case scenario of everything. It's so disgusting.
Yeah.
I cannot get my brain around it. I cannot get my brain around any of it. I just can't.
I
All
know.
right.
I
So
can It's very hard to even comprehend, Jen. It truly is. And even the way she talks, I don't know. It's just there's something very eerie and bizarre about the whole thing, and it's hard to wrap your mind around. And then also, I just wanted to say I dropped a couple links. So I dropped a link to the study I was referencing, and then also that goes another link that goes in a little more detail about different kinds of Lyme, and
yes.
so those links are in the chat.
Well, thank you, babe, for doing that. And I think the other
You're
thing that
welcome.
I just wanted to say really quickly is that this is a part of Kayla's testimony, and I remember this very distinctly because I was in Disorder in the Courts chat. She streams the trial every day, and if somebody wouldn't mind dropping her link, I would appreciate it. I don't have it in the Nightbot.
I'll get it.
If Oh, thank you, babe. But this is the part of the testimony that I know I made a comment about there being a disconnect. There is some disconnect in her testimony between what's coming out of her mouth, and it's like she's removed from it. And I'm sure that that is that's some type of coping mechanism that your brain does it to protect you, to distance, so you're not reliving it or whatever. But I just don't know. There's something off, and I cannot quite put my finger on it, that goes beyond something that you can explain. I'm having a very difficult time with that. It will come to me eventually. I will be able to put it into better words, but even today, I just can't do it, even after I've been thinking about it. All right, so here we go. We're going to keep going.
Where that discussion
Okay.
occurred?
Yes.
Did he ever discuss using tools on Harmony with you? Using tools on her body.
He said that he was going to try and use a handsaw or a NutriBullet.
And I want to unpack that.
And a NutriBullet. NutriBullet.
Kayla, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 63 for identification.
Yes.
Do you recognize the item that's depicted in this exhibit?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors what it is?
It's a handsaw.
It's a handsaw?
Yeah.
Do you recognize this handsaw?
Yes.
When the defendant discussed dismembering Harmony, using tools on her,
Yes.
is this a saw that he discussed doing that with?
Yes.
Is this an accurate representation of that saw as you remember it?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to strike ID, mark as full, State's Exhibit 63, and publish to the jurors.
Okay. The ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit.
So this is the saw that he discussed using to dismember Harmony's body?
Yes.
That discussion again occurred at the Union Street apartment?
Yes.
You talked about something else.
Yes, Nana Banana.
You barely-
That's exactly what it
mentioned
is.
a NutriBullet.
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors what that is?
It's like a blender, puree, food item.
And what did the defendant say about using a NutriBullet, a blender, on Harmony?
When we lived on Union Street,
What did he say about it?
I'm just pausing it right here really quickly because it's a long video and I'm waiting for it to sort of catch up a little bit so that it won't buffer in these spots because it is so long.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes
Okay.
the Wi-Fi is like, bruh, what are you doing? you know?
Yeah.
So
Yes. Here I
sometimes
am
it
thinking that
helps.
I'm thinking that my Wi-Fi's went out or something again. I'm like, uh-oh, I froze.
No,
Remember
no,
last night I did the
no,
same
no.
thing.
No, this is a Jenlu issue. This is nobody else's issue. Excellent point,
That's okay.
Chopper. I had not actually thought of, I meant to highlight this one. I actually had not thought about that because I've sort of tried to put that particular testimony also out of my brain, out of the 11 billion tabs that are forever open in my brain at the same time, which explains why my internet, much like my brain, is buffering. I
Yeah.
cannot um I cannot believe that conversation. I just cannot imagine having that type of conversation with anybody. Like I can have like obviously we talk about true crime, so in some way, shape, or form, we do have that type of conversation. But what we don't do is have that is have that conversation in real time, in a real event, in a real life situation. Like that's very different.
Yeah.
And I can't get my brain around it. I just cannot do it.
Right. Ash, right. I agree with you about Suboxone wouldn't make you act like this. However, so I talked to somebody who knows some of the family and the few people closer to the situation. And I was told that this particular prison where she's at, they do take inmates to the methadone clinic to dose. So she, she could potentially still be on methadone. It's going to be different in every state. Like I know where I was at, like where I used to live, the jail in that area, you couldn't even get your medications you were prescribed in there. Like most people would complain about stuff like that, but it's a horrific jail. But it's going to vary from state to state, prison to prison. It's going to depend whether it's a state prison, a federal prison. There are many factors. So I just don't think we know for certain.
So yeah, I don't well, I would be interested in that. Maybe the defense will get to that part. So Joe, moms, a
I hope so.
NutriBullet is essentially like a blender, but it's very expensive. You could get a like a off brand. I mean, you could go to Walmart. Just go to Walmart. Next time you're at Walmart, go to the Home Goods and just take a gander at how at the prices. So, I mean,
I got
all of
one
it
for
is disgusting.
my dad got me a Ninja for Christmas, like a little
Oh,
blender
wow.
like that, but I haven't opened it yet, but I love to make treats and stuff. But I don't know, just the fact that that was even brought up makes me sick. It's disgusting. It, uh, I don't know. I'm sorry for the people that are taking this in because I know it's so disturbing. Because it's so disturbing to me, and it just makes me feel for you guys. And I just want to say, I don't know that they used it. I think they just talked about
Right.
using it. Jen and I talked about that last night, but.
Yes. It's not something that was used. It was something that they discussed using, which is just disgusting. It's all the way foul. And thank you, Wolfie, so much. I appreciate that. You're welcome for the nooner. It's just all of it. It's just so effing foul. I just cannot do it. And I wanted to say something about this situation with Kayla. And, I will say this. I don't know anybody who becomes addicted to anything, regardless of what it is, who is mentally healthy. And I know from personal experience, if you don't do the work to get down to the root cause of what it is that you're trying to escape from, it's it makes it 11 billion times more difficult to when you're in recovery to stay in recovery and to stay sober. And Kayla, if you don't come clean somewhere at some point to somebody other than in your own brain and take accountability for every single detail, every tiny thing you did or did not do, because not doing something is also doing something. If you don't do that, the chances of you staying sober and and not relapsing it's just harder that way. And you owe it to your children to do everything that you can to keep yourself sober. They did not ask to be brought into this world. You brought them in here. It's your responsibility. And if you can't do that, then for the love of Pete, there are so many people in this world that
Oh, yeah.
cannot have children, who would love to have those children. Don't be selfish.
Yep. 100% agree. You have to be big enough, wise enough, and have enough love for your kids to look at the situation and say, being with me is not what's best for you. And that's just, and you do that out of love. And that's just the way it is. That's what you have to do.
Yes. Yes. And no, Joe moms, here's the deal. I think where I can't speak to what happened in another chat because I didn't see it, but for what I'm seeing from the chats that I've been in and in this chat, I think the issue is for most people, they're having it's because the charges that she ended up taking, that she ended up getting a plea, taking a plea deal on, are charges that have absolutely nothing to do with what actually happened to Harmony. And I think that if they had found charges that would be similar in the length of time required for her to serve as these perjury charges, I do think that people would feel a little bit differently. It feels like because she's testifying against Adam, which make no mistake, I definitely believe that had she not, for whatever reason, decided to talk, we would not be here at this point. So in that and I think people are trying to reiterate that, but what gets people bothered is the fact that there is not a charge that's directly related to what happened with Harmony. And it feels like because of that, Kayla's getting a pass and that she should have that on her record, that people, you know what I mean? That it's not just that she shouldn't be able to skate by without having to take accountability for her role. I think that's what people's issue is. It is for me, for sure. It bothers me a lot that there isn't that it's perjury and not something related to Harmony's murder.
I agree. And Joe moms, I'm more on the, I kind of agree with you, but I was also shocked to see a lot of support for her and a lot of people even getting mad if you kind of even questioned her at this point. I was seeing some of that too. I think we have to be able to have our opinions and not get mad at each other for them.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's also very, very difficult to express yourself fully using 150 characters. It's very difficult. Text is hard enough, but when you're limited on the characters, it makes it that much more difficult. Yes, Delaney, exactly like Karla Homolka. The Kayla Montgomery, in many, many ways, is the United States' Karla Homolka. So it's all sad. All right, we're getting there, you guys. Okay, here we go.
What was his idea? What was his purpose of using lime?
That it would help her body decay.
That's what he told you?
Yes.
Yeah, I've shown you it's been marked for identification as States Exhibit 62. Do you recognize this item?
Yes.
And what can you tell me about this item? Do you recognize anything, particular markings on this item?
The bag of lime on the left side is similar to the one that he had.
When you say it's similar to the one that he had, who's he? Who's the he that
Adam.
you're referring to?
Adam.
And is there a circle around that bag?
Yes.
And is there writing underneath it?
Yes.
Do you recognize that writing?
It's my initials.
Okay. Is this an accurate representation of the item that you circled in initial?
Yes.
Did you write those initials?
Yes.
Did you circle this item?
Yes.
Why'd you do that?
To let it be known that that's the item that was similar to the one that he had.
Your Honor, I move to strike ID and mark as full and publish State's Exhibit 62.
Any objection? If the ID is stricken, it's entered as a full exhibit and it may be published.
Kayla, who were you with when you circled this bag of wine?
Detective Dunleavy and Riley.
Is that Master Redhill?
Yeah, that
Wine
one.
detective?
Yeah.
So you're with law enforcement.
Yes.
And they asked you if you could identify. Have you seen?
I'm sorry, objection sustained.
Had you seen a bag of wine in your Union Street apartment?
Yes.
Where was that bag of wine located in your Union Street apartment?
In the bathroom.
Do you know how that bag of wine got there?
No.
Did you buy that bag of wine?
No.
Okay, just really quickly, I just want to point out that there's a lot about this that irks me, and one of the things that irks me is that this question and answer exchange just right here. How did you know about the lime? Listen, I'm a question asker, and I have asked questions about far less incriminating items that have no. I mean, let me put this better. A bag of lime is a highly incriminating something to bring into a house. It should be questioned, right? Now, that being said, I have found things in the refrigerator like, snack type items or in the pantry that I did not buy, and nor did I see them be brought in the house, and I have asked questions. So, I cannot, I mean, I guess in a way, there would be no real reason to ask about Lyme, but I mean, I don't know. There's something really off here and I just can't put my finger on it. And I'm just going to be quiet and let her talk.
Agree.
When you saw that bag of wine in the bathroom of Union Street, what was going on in that bathroom at the time?
Adam was trying to thaw her body.
When you say Adam was trying to de-thaw her body, what was he doing specifically?
Taking the clothes off of her and putting her in the bag of lime.
And when he was trying to de-thaw her body, where was Harmony's body at the time?
In the bathtub.
And that's when you saw the bag of lime?
Yes.
Did you see Harmony's body in the bathtub?
I saw Harmony in the bathtub. Still folded together the same way that she was left in the bag when we took her out of the car. And she just, and she was all bruised up.
Thaw her.
He had the hot water running from the shower.
And where was the hot water running in the shower?
In the bathroom.
Where was the hot water running in relation to Harmony's body?
The Union Street apartment.
Harmony's body, where was it in the Union Street apartment?
In the tub.
Was the hot water touching her?
Yes.
He was running it over her?
Yes.
And what was he doing to Harmony's body during this process?
Taking the clothes off of her.
Touch her at all during that process?
Yes.
Touch her.
He was on her and just thawing her.
Did he tell you to help him at some point?
Yes.
Did you obey him?
Yes.
Why?
'Cause I was scared. Take the clothes off of her
How did he take the clothes off of her?
by cutting it with scissors.
What did he do with her body after he cut the clothes off of her?
Put her in the bag of lime.
You mentioned these clothes. What clothes was she wearing when you put her into that tub?
She had a hoodie on, and she had her leggings on. That's
Did you leave that bathroom at some point while he was in there?
Yeah.
Why? Why'd you leave the bathroom?
because I needed to check on the kids, and I couldn't be in there anymore
And let's talk about that. What do you mean you couldn't be there in there anymore?
because I couldn't handle it. I didn't want to see anything.
How long was he in the bathroom for that day?
A few hours.
And that was with Harmony's body?
Yes.
At some point, did he close the door to the bathroom?
Yes.
Were you able to hear what he was doing in there?
No.
Were you able to? Why weren't you able to hear what he was doing in there?
Because our neighbor next door always had loud music playing, and I couldn't tell what noises were happening.
You mentioned a shower being on earlier.
Yes.
Did that shower stay on after you left the bathroom?
It was on when I left the bathroom, yes.
And did it stay on? Did he leave it on?
Yes.
Did he take breaks from what he was doing in the bathroom at any point?
No.
Did he leave the bathroom at any point?
No.
How many bags did you see in the bathroom with him?
3.
And what was happening with each of those bags?
He had lime in the bags.
So one of the bags was a bag of lime.
Yes.
Was it a large bag or a small bag?
The bags that he was putting them in were large trash
The
bags.
bag that contained the lime, was that a large bag or a small bag?
It was a large bag.
A large bag of lime?
Yes.
You said that he was putting that lime into a bag.
Yes.
Was there anything else in the bag when he was putting the lime in?
No.
Did you see Harmony's body go into the bag?
No.
What happened to Harmony's body after it was in the bathtub?
It was in the CMC bag.
What did he do with the CMC bag?
Put Harmony in it.
What did he do with the lime that was in the bathroom?
It was in the big trash bags.
The lime was in the big trash bags?
Well, I know he put the lime in trash bags, but I didn't see that bag after.
Which bag did you not see after
The
that?
lime bag.
Did he also add lime to the CMC bag?
Yes.
Was he talking to you during this process?
No.
He was working.
Yeah.
At any point, did you see him remove Harmony's body from the bathtub?
No.
You mentioned earlier that he put Harmony's body back into the CMC bag.
Yes.
How do you know that he did that?
Because he put the bag back in the freezer after.
You mentioned garbage bags.
Yes.
What was he doing with the garbage bags in that bathroom?
He had the big garbage bags put in the CMC bag.
And that clothing that you mentioned? You used scissors to cut off her clothing.
Yes.
What happened to her clothing? What happened to Harmony's clothes?
It was put in a trash bag.
Was anything else put into that trash bag with her or with the clothes?
Not that I. Oh, the duffel bag.
So you saw the duffel bag again after the fit shelter.
Yes.
And that trash bag that the duffel bag went into, that the clothes went into, what happened to that trash bag?
I don't know.
Did the defendant tell you what he planned to do with that trash bag?
Throw them away.
Did he tell you specifically where he was going to throw it away?
He just said he wasn't going to leave them in our trash area. He was going to bring them somewhere
Did he say why he wasn't going to leave them in your trash?
so that there's no evidence.
Do you recall telling investigators that when you saw Harmony in the bathtub, the defendant was squishing the liquids out of her?
No.
You mentioned earlier the defendant talked about dismembering Harmony.
Yes.
Did he do that in the bathroom?
I don't know.
That conversation about dismembering Harmony, conversation about using the tools, how close in time was that to the steps, the actions the defendant took in the bathroom?
Well, I know that the conversation with the tool happened when I lived with my mother.
Okay.
We were staying at my mother's house. And by the time that he was trying to, I don't even know what he did, but it was a few months after.
You mentioned earlier that the defendant squished Harmony at the fit shelter. He squished Harmony into that CMC bag.
Yes.
You said that her body filled that bag.
Yes.
How was he able to add lime to that bag if it was full of Harmony's body?
I don't know.
You don't know what he did in that bathroom?
No.
Yeah. I need a little bit of a break from that. How about you guys? Oh my goodness.
Good idea. Good idea. I was like, listen, I'm half listening and watching chat because I've already listened to it a couple times. And then I get
Yeah, me too.
little parts, like I hear little parts and it just, turns my stomach. It is just horrific. It is absolutely disgusting and horrific. And to hear it being talked about, and you have to talk about it in a very matter of fact way, right, for court. But still, to hear it like that is just, it's hard on the heart.
It's incredibly difficult on the heart because it's just all of it. The fact that it's a human being, period, let alone a child, let alone your own child.
Yeah.
And I will say this, and I've seen this a lot in not just our chat right now, but in other chats. I don't believe for a single solitary second that she did not witness more in that bathroom. And the fact of the matter, and I know I'm right about that because the prosecutor mentions it. He asks about the squishing.
Yeah.
And he's getting that from her proffer.
Yep.
He didn't ask her that for no reason.
Yep.
Just the
Because that was
fact
her
that
exact description.
exactly. And just the fact that we didn't even touch on at the pie company. Just the fact that she put that bag in a stroller with her other children and walked it to Adam. I just can't get past that. And there's just I don't think we're gonna. I mean, there's nothing she could ever say that would be like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to happen. And that's not what I'm expecting. It's just, again, I go back to the fact that she was not charged with anything in connection and that they have her right there admitting to moving a body, which at the very minimum is also abuse of a court.
Yep.
There should be something else that she is charged with related to her part in all of this. I just can't it's disgusting. Huh?
I'm curious if the chat heard a weird sound just now. You guys let me know if you heard that or if that was on my end.
It's on your end. I didn't hear
but
anything.
Well, it was when you were speaking. It was like at the end of your sentence. So your last word went like
Oh,
almost robotic, but in an odd way. I don't think that I've heard before. I heard
oh,
it.
well,
Okay, they heard it too.
fantastic. It must be Kayla's debook that's, messing with the audio. Wow.
Okay.
Alien clicks. Wonderful. Delaney heard a bloop.
Alien clicks.
Yikes on bikes. That's disturbing. I'll probably have to go back and listen to that because bruh. That's kind of
Yeah.
scary.
You might have to sage or something.
Well, they're all saying it's alien like, and I don't know. Does freaking does alien do
Heard it, demon.
is sage an alien repellent? I know it can
I
be a
don't know.
demon repellent, but not sage. Holy
I
shit!
don't know. We have to
Oh
ask
my
Melissa on
god,
that one with the alien
we
if she
will.
knows. Cause but
I will say this, that there is something about, and I used Dybbuk because I just like that word, because it's different than a demon. A demon is something that's never walked the earth in human form, but a Dybbuk is a soul that is not at rest. It was once human, and it devours the host from the inside out. And I just think that's more of an apt prescription. But I will say this, there have been many, many times that I have heard that. I think I know what you guys are talking about, that noise. And it's happened in several interrogations where they're getting to the real hard part of like a confession or whatever, of details. During trials, it does it too. And I feel
oh.
like it's just evil manifesting itself. And it freaks me out every freaking time. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
But
Woofy clipped it for you, so you'll be able to hear it in a second. But yeah, it was like almost like when a mic goes out or when a mic does something funky, but not really like I've ever heard before. It was like I don't know, it was weird, but I'm just so glad that other people heard it too. And it was it wasn't just on my end because I was
this is
thinking that
kind
at
of
first. So
scary. Here comes Teacup Kraken with all the logic in the world. Internet lag, which is, I'm sure, probably what it is, but I feel that it is evil manifesting itself that causes the internet lag, which makes that noise. So, in the end, it's still about evil and the Dybbuk.
a true psych word said, my Dybbuk is on the sidewalk right now. I left him behind.
Oh my God. All right. A Dybbuk in the Wi-Fi. Like some bikes. Okay. So, we only have like 10 more minutes. So this is what I'm going to do, y'all. I think that we get the gist of it here. I think we should stop. What do you think, Allie? Like, I just don't think I can take any more.
I think we should stop. Yeah, we can do that. And we can just, like, well, we have things we're doing tonight. We can talk about that for a second. And also, what do you expect from the rest of Cross? Like, I'm really interested to see that. I hope that she will ask a few questions that I would ask if I was um, doing it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. Okay. So here's the deal. Um, I may or may not have taken a little nap during the cross examination, like part of it. Okay. But I heard the beginning. And thank you, Wolfie. And I'm having a very difficult time. Look, I understand that they have well established that Kayla is a lying liar face who tells lies. But what they and there was some questions about like being alone with Harmony, because literally they're pointing the finger at her. But there was no, from what I remember, there wasn't any like real hard pressing and follow up. If you're going to blame Kayla like your partner did in your opening statements, why wasn't she pressed harder?
I don't know. I hope that I think they're getting there. They start to press her a little bit through it. Okay, I'll tell you this. Kayla's attitude towards the end of like yesterday's, oh my God. Her attitude on with the prosecution versus, she's all crying and this is so emotional. Then she really cocks a little attitude with the defense towards the end, and then she gets this migraine. She starts making these faces and she says she has a migraine, so they end it. But I don't know, I'm hoping they do press more. I think that's a good point. They need to get into her being alone with her on specific days or something like that. But maybe that's coming. And also I hope that they're gonna ask about a deal, and I hope that they'll also ask I think that it's relevant and an important question. They could ask if she's under the influence of any medications right now, or has she been in the last few years? And also, I would be curious to know if Adam was as well, because yeah, I think that, to me, if he's not on any, I think I understand medicated assisted treatment. I do, and I think it can be really great for people. However, I think that methadone probably is. I would just like to see them have to face some of what they've done sober, or a little more sober. That's all. So I want to know if Adam's on it as well, and yeah, I wonder if they'll ask those things.
Do you? I am curious about that as well. I also am curious, and I want to ask you, and I want to ask the chat, if the defense is to blame Kayla, do you think that Adam will testify?
He should. But
I
I don't know.
agree. I agree. I think that the jury, if you're going to blame what is essentially, and now the jury doesn't know this, okay, but I don't think that Kayla is essentially the state's star witness. I don't think that they know that. No, I don't think that they've been. Or maybe the defense did say it in closing, or make some mention about it, some reference sort of in that manner. But I feel like normally I never ever advocate for a defendant taking the stand, because it's never a good idea. It never works out like you think it's going to do. It's very rare that it's successful, all the things, right? But in my opinion, if you are going to blame the state's witness to what occurred in that vehicle on December 7th, then they're not telling the truth, then I almost think that he has no choice but to testify. He has to.
I
I feel
agree.
like he has to explain, because I can't. There's nobody else who could explain it.
Yep. I agree. And I know that him not showing, people are saying no, he won't because he didn't show. But here's the thing. So on the 6th, he came. We know he was there, and he was looking every juror in the eye and very almost combative. But on the 7th, they wanted to strip search him, and he got mad about that, and that's why he didn't show. But he was initially going. It's just when they
Yes.
started to try to strip search him, he got pissed and refused. So I don't know that he might. I don't know.
I have a feeling that, and I'm not actually surprised that I, I really, wait, I was surprised that he was not there when Kayla was testifying, because I think he very much wanted to be there. And I don't understand what was going through his brain, thinking that he was going to just throw a temper tantrum like that and refuse to go to court. Like, I would have sucked it up buttercup, and I would have been there, because in this country, you have the right to face your accuser. And Kayla is essentially the main one, through her testimony, that is his accuser.
Yep.
So I just can't see. I think that if he testifies, don't get me wrong, y'all, I think it's going to be an absolute shit show, because he does not. When we were over on ATS News's live last night, she played his interrogation, and there was first of all, his tone is stank to begin with. All right, his whole, just everything about him, all from the top of his head down to the bottoms of his feet, is just stank. But there were some questions that they were asking, and then he was asking questions, and you could see the anger. There was a point when he was on his 80th cigarette, which I don't judge, but geez, the Lou, it was an excess. That was a lot of smoking. where he flicked
Yes.
the cigarette so hard that he dadgum near lost the whole cherry. So I am curious about this, and I'm curious about this too, True Psych Ward, because I agree. Like, bruh, first of all, this is not your first rodeo being in the clink. Let's just start there, okay? Second of all, this isn't even your first trial. You're actually on like what, your third trial? And the last trial was fairly recent, so you know the freaking procedure. You know that's going to happen to you, and you know that you've already been convicted on your weapons charges, so you know your ass belongs to the state. You know how this goes. So I have to agree. Like, what was the point of all of it? You know, actually, having a temper tantrum for being strip search actually is worse than just straight refusing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
It's weird. Like, what kind of game are you playing, Adam? Rat bastard.
Is his temper that bad that he can't hold it? And if that's the case, imagine him on the stand. Because, which I guess if he testifies for him. Okay, so let me ask you, Jen. You'll know more about this than me. So
Okay.
if they call him as his own witness,
Mm-hmm.
then the cross can only be inside the scope of what they talk about, right?
Correct.
Okay. But I
Correct.
mean, they're going to have to talk about a lot of things, but still, I think that that's interesting because they can limit somewhat of what he gets asked about. Could he hold his temper on the stand?
No,
I don't think so
I
either.
don't think so. I think that obviously when you are high in whatever form that is, not except for mota, that doesn't count, but other narcotics. Um, Controlling your emotions is difficult anyway, right? But I think that his inability to control his emotions, particularly anger, I think that's part of who he is. I
Hmm.
think I don't think I think that the way in which he exhibits it is probably different when he is turnt, for lack of a better word, but I feel like that's actually part of who he is as a person, and so I don't think he's gonna be able to really control it. I think it will probably come out, um, in probably more in smaller ways than when he wasn't sober. It'll but I He is just incapable. I mean, the fact that he thought it was a good idea to glare at a jury, I just
Yeah.
that tells you everything you
And
need
look
to
him
know
up
right
and
there.
down. Yeah. Look at True Psych Ward's comment. That's really interesting. And just
And
she's into the psychology of it also. I find
of
it
course.
even more interesting. It comes from her. I think he's raging and putting a show on to get
Oh,
at Kayla. I think he was sending a message. He didn't want to see her.
that's an absolute first of all, I can't I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised, but I have to agree with this. There is, and we talked about this last night, that Kayla still has feelings for him. I how is it that she hasn't at this point, even after everything, filed for divorce?
Right.
They're still married. I think I was actually quite shocked by that. I thought that they were divorced. Don't know why, but I did. I think
Well,
she
she's pierced
still
it.
carries a torch for him.
Yes. That's what I was about to say. Yes, yes, yes. I agree. Completely agree. Um, and then Harlot was saying, if you're, I just wanted to, because I was going to type it, but it's a lot to type out. But she was saying, if you're on a stable dose of methadone, it won't necessarily keep you from processing certain emotions and having certain thoughts and stuff. And everybody is different. I agree with you. But for me personally, even on stable medications, like Bendy knows, I take gabapentin. I take 300 milligrams twice a day. And that's not even a narcotic. It is a controlled substance now. But even that versus complete abstinence and sobriety is that gabapentin like keeps me from overthinking and dealing with, even for me, any substance, even THC, even a steady dose of gabapentin or Suboxone, which I've had a lot of experience with. I've only taken methadone a couple times, but even a stable dose of Suboxone versus complete sobriety, my mentality was completely different. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just like it would calm that little bit of anxiety and keeps me from overthinking. But that's just personally for me how I am. Okay, sorry if that
No,
even
no,
made
you're
sense.
fine. No, it made
Okay.
perfect sense. Solo Sock said she did file. They said that in the defense, but I don't remember hearing that.
Oh yeah,
And
they did. She did file. I forgot before the grand jury thing. She filed, but she
mhm,
never followed through. I believe is what it was. Something
okay,
like that. It was around that time. Yeah.
okay. Like, and Carol, sexy wild thing. Carol freaking Papa Elvis Claus says, why hasn't Adam filed either? I mean, I
Good
don't know why
point.
he hasn't filed, but at the end of the day, right? This makes zero. So listen, if you're just taking this, let's say they both can't be telling the truth, right? So one of them is lying and one of them is telling the truth, right? So if you go with Kayla, if Kayla is telling the truth and Adam is the one who actually murdered Harmony, and I do, and we know that he beat the crap out of Kayla because we saw the pictures. That's irrefutable evidence he did. Um, it would be, I would think, once she got distance, sobriety, it would be like, bruh, I can't go back to this. And the only way for me to cut ties
Right.
is to cut ties permanently, right? But she didn't. And on the flip side of that, if you believe Adam, right? He says that Kayla is the one that killed Harmony, and all he did was cover for Kayla out of wanting to protect her and wanting to protect his children. Um, why hasn't he filed? Why would you stay married to somebody who did that to your child? Why? It's all messed up.
Right.
Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. It's a mess. We'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys all go for now. I got to finish up a couple of things for tonight, but I will see all of you guys back here at 8 Eastern for more Toilet Talking with
Phone calls.
Tisha.
Yeah,
Uh,
and when Aries girl, when she wants to, like, just let us know whenever you want
yeah,
to come up and give your perspective. And then before we go, True Psych Ward had made a comment I think is such a great point, and I really wanted
okay.
to just say, she said if he had to show up and see her nodding out or whatever on the stand, he would
Yes,
be furious. And
yes,
that is so true. And with these kind of toxic relationships in addiction and stuff, it would be pure rage and jealousy. I know because I've been in relationships like that, these toxic addiction fueled relationships. And if you even see the other person messed up, or even after when you start to get sober and the other person doesn't, it is infuriating. It is. So even for him, it'd probably be 10 times more because he has the anger issues, allegedly.
true.
But
That's true. Oof. All right, you
okay.
guys. You guys have a great. Thank you, Allie, for coming up, babe. And I'll see you guys all later tonight at 8 o'clock for more Tisha Leanne. Bye.
Bye.